in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Tuesday. It's cold, but that's kind of what you would expect in January. We're at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue, and we got a lot of things to get to today. There are a lot of stories hopping around. Let's start in Murfreesboro, see what's up with Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
What's up, George? How you doing?
I'm good.
You didn't hit on that game again last night either, did you?
No, I did not. I absolutely did not. Neither did Sam Darnold.
Hey, it wasn't Sam Darnold's fault though. Now they couldn't block. He didn't play good, but like when you're getting hit and you're getting sacked like that, and I know we're going to talk about it, but we'll talk about it later on. But it wasn't an easy night for him, that's for sure.
On the flip side, the Rams, in my opinion, 3 years ago, had the label of being soft. The 49ers would come in and push them all over the place. I got news for you.
They're pretty
The
good.
level of drafting that they have done, this is in stark contrast to our team here. That team has really drafted well. They are really athletic, and they no longer will allow the 49ers to push them around. I love watching the Rams. They're fun.
Joe Buck talked about it. He talked about just how good they were drafting these players like the Jared Verses of the world and the Paka Nakua. I mean, like who thought that he was going to be what he is? I mean, he's an unbelievable compliment to Cooper Kupp. I mean, it's just what they're doing, and hey, they got a shot now. They got a shot because Matthew Stafford's been there. He's done that. They've still got some guys on that team that went to the Super Bowl, and now they can get after you defensively. And there was nobody open for the Vikings last night.
It was a complete beatdown.
Yep.
Hello, Billy.
Hello. It's amazing what a good GM will do for you. Les Snead has done an amazing job, with the drafts, but the trade to get Stafford after, Jared Goff. I mean,
that one's worked for both teams.
Yeah. So, it really has. But in the moment, I remember some people saying, questioning.
There was real question. Look, without knowing all the particulars, my guess is the Rams have made some real financial investment in scouting. I'm talking about real investment. And if I'm Amy Strunk and she wants to know why over the last 5 years they don't have any draft picks round 3 through 7, she might start by looking at the bottom line and saying, are we spending enough? Because rounds 3 through 7, we might as well be out playing golf.
That's where all these teams that really get good make their hay in those late rounds. They find diamonds in the rough and they make them pay off in the long run.
I will say Carthon hasn't been awful in the draft.
No, compared to John Robinson toward the end, no, he has not been.
Like Brownlee, I think he's going to be a good player. We talked about Sweat. I think they've got some pieces there, but there was some damage before that that we know about. But,
but where I'm going with that is rounds 3 through 7, they never get anybody.
No. Well, we've got some stuff in the update today. It's brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. You can find her online at mortgageladyusa.com or give her a call, 615-969-4350.
In other words, meat on the bone?
We've got some meat on the bone today.
Okay.
Let us be the judge of that, William.
Okay. According to Jonathan Jones of CBS, the Titans will interview their 6 general manager candidates in person this week. They've got 2 today, 2 tomorrow, and 2 on Thursday. And Jones said the Titans might have their new GM by the weekend. Isn't that exciting?
Wow. Exciting stuff. Excitement lives here, that's for sure.
Excitement lives here. Absolutely. The
You want
Cowboys,
some excitement? Go to Dallas.
yeah, the
There's some
Cowboys,
excitement.
and we're going to get into this, but they
Yes,
have
we
begun
are.
their search for a new head coach. Jerry Jones talked with Deion Sanders as of late. While no interview has been scheduled, there is mutual interest in keeping the dialogue about the vacancy open.
So let me guess as to how this worked. So Jerry picked up a phone. I'm guessing he had Prime's number, and he dialed and said, Deion, prime time. It's Uncle Jerry. Is that how it went?
Maybe not uncle. Maybe not uncle.
Yeah, but Deion said, I love Boulder and everything there is about our team, the coaches, and our student body
whatever.
in the community.
Yeah, whatever.
Money talks, Billy. We know that.
I hope that happens.
You hope he goes there.
How
Now,
awesome
you
would that
talk
be?
about the circus coming to town.
Yeah,
Think through this one piece of this. Who would he want to be a part of that team in Dallas?
his sons,
Who are?
Shador and
Shiloh and Shador.
Okay. Who else?
Travis Hunter,
Who controls that?
Jerry Jones,
No.
Deion.
No. The Titans at the moment control that.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly, why was that so hard?
I don't know, because he's not thinking on the wavelength that you're thinking of, George. So, I mean, it happens sometimes, you know? Not many people do think on your wavelength, Hoss. Let's just throw that out there.
Well, thank you. Okay. So, Billy, think about this. If he were to go there, that is an obvious trade partner.
A lot of people are saying Dak to the Titans.
Well, I don't know how you make that work salary cap wise. Last time I checked, the guy is the gross national product of Texas. That contract is obscene.
Obscene.
But just the thought without the money attached of Dak Prescott, that's kind of exciting.
We're
But that
talking about
alone-
something. They were on the ESPN this morning, guys. They were talking about his cap hit would be over $100 million. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's something obscene.
Like $103 million, something like that. How does I don't even like I was around it, but I don't even understand how that works. And like, if you were to ship him off here, how much of that are you? What do you have to pay if you send him off to the Titans?
I don't know. We have to get with Terry for all things monetary.
Yeah,
We need a sports law expert on here, NFL cap expert. Also, Jordan Love will have to take the next step in his career as Tom Clements hangs it up, his quarterback position coach. He's 71 years old. So the day the Packers announced that Clements is retiring, Matt LaFleur came out and said that Love's got to evolve as a quarterback and become more of a vocal leader within the team. But Kelly, that's got to be big. Your position coach, I don't know how long Tom Clements has been working with Jordan Love. I would assume since he's been there. But I mean, that's nothing small, you would guess.
Deal with it.
Tom Clements was my offensive coordinator when I was with the Bills, so I've been around Tom.
Tom Clements
Mild-mannered guy.
is most known for the 1973 Sugar Bowl, Alabama, Notre Dame.
Oh, really?
And being backed up on their goal line on third down as they were about to give the football back to Alabama with a 24-23 lead. He threw the ball out of the end zone. It's a famous play in Notre Dame history. Of course, Billy doesn't know any of this because if it happened before the year 2010, Kelly, out of sight, out of mind.
And Billy's so lazy, he won't even Google it.
Is that true?
He won't even look it up on YouTube. Like, let's go, Billy. Grow up.
I hope Clay's the first caller today. I need him helping me out today.
Oh, gosh. Clay always wants to start with me too. Why does he want to start with me?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, look.
I mean, is he your agent, Billy? I mean, is that what we're doing here? Has he got a little bit of monetary status in this thing, or
Getting a
what?
little kickback underneath the
No.
table.
Clay's my guy.
This would be a good time for you to go. In other news,
you're on one today.
yes.
In other news, SEC basketball action tonight, probably one of the better nights we've had so far. Mississippi State is at Auburn at 6 o'clock. Ole Miss at Alabama at 6 as well. Also at 6, Texas A&M at Kentucky.
Remember when A&M steamrolled Kentucky here in the tournament in March?
Yes.
I would think that I say somebody in that locker room.
Yeah, they're all new, George.
Yeah. So okay, maybe Pope put on a film of it and said, "Do you want this to happen?"
They're at Arkansas now.
Those are some good games.
Yeah. Auburn star Janai Broome, the front runner for National Player of the Year, will not require surgery on the ankle sprain he suffered in Saturday's win over South Carolina. He underwent an MRI on Sunday morning that revealed a non-surgical sprain. He's out indefinitely, but not expected to be a long-term absence, which you wonder how long they hold him out.
Got to have him back in March.
Yeah. I mean, are they thinking it probably depends on how these next couple games without him goes.
Don't know. They really haven't said a lot in a time frame, and maybe they at this point don't know.
Yeah, Auburn's got Mississippi State tonight. We've seen them. That's not going to be easy there at on the Plains.
Athletic and long.
Yeah, Mississippi. This SEC, I can't get over how. I mean, we've got 3 ranked matchups tonight. We've got Georgia Texas tomorrow. That's a ranked game. Vandy's got South Carolina.
Georgia and Texas. Isn't that the SEC football title game?
What?
Didn't they just play?
Isn't it funny to you guys that we're talking about SEC basketball, and this is supposedly a huge football league, and football let everybody down and was kind of disappointing this year, but everybody's talking about basketball now.
I was texting with somebody the other day, and we were talking about SEC basketball, and he told me that he thinks SEC basketball and baseball is better than SEC football, more entertaining.
It might be.
I'm starting to wonder.
I hadn't thought about that, but I started to think about it. I was like, you might have a point there.
But football's where all the cash is.
Oh, no question. Absolutely.
But like baseball, the whole league's ranked every year pretty much. In basketball, you've got 80% of the league that's ranked. Football, the Big Ten was the cat daddy this year. I think we can say that in football.
Right. Come Monday night, they'll be even more so.
I don't know about that.
I think I do.
Don't say that, George. You're going to put him in a small state of depression. He won't get out of the bed tomorrow.
God, you don't want to see me next Tuesday if Notre Dame wins.
You need to prepare yourself for the worst.
I'm confident.
You have no reason
you
to be.
You can be confident all you want to, Billy. It's not going to happen.
How many times have y'all said that?
I don't know. I'm only 2-9. Why are you paying any attention?
I'm almost to George booking this. This is a book it.
Well,
oh, wow.
Some more. You got a lot more writing on it now.
I like it. Book
George
it.
and Kelly are booking it.
No,
George didn't. I am
not
book it.
Made any declarations. I mean, we'll do that when it's time, which would be next Monday. But I'm 2-9. That is pathetic.
You started off weak last time, though, and you finished at the end.
Because I'm a champion.
Yeah, just means more.
It does mean more.
Oh, the Preds are in action tonight.
Yes, they are.
The Golden Knights, 7 o'clock puck drop.
Mm-hmm. I'll be there.
Preds have a 5-game homestand? Or is it 4?
I think it's 5.
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Look, we can sugarcoat all we want. There's 16 points out of the 8th and final playoff spot.
Hey, this is when they started to get it turned around last year.
No, they weren't any 16 points back. Look, their time run is in Guam. I mean,
where do you get these references?
I don't know, but let's get real about it. You need to come up with a few. All you do is steal Kelly's stuff.
You got the same handful that you go to every day.
Okay. After the break, Tony Basilio will join us from Knoxville. Later in the show, we will discuss Sam Darnold. If you listen to Kelly, none of it's his fault. However, he did hold the ball at times for 5 seconds, which is about 2.5 too long. Then we'll get down and dirty on Deion. What is he thinking? I'd love to know.
Circus coming to town.
I would love to be a fly on the wall when he tells Jerry, now look, you got to stay out of my office. Don't bug me.
He'd be the guy to do that.
I know he would. I'd like to be a fly on the wall when he does. We're going to our first break. This is 94.9 The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com. And are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
One of the real highlights every week for us on the show is being able to say hello to Tony Basilio, sports talk show host extraordinaire, Knoxville, Tennessee. He's getting himself ready. It looks like he's got a Flyers jersey on.
Oh, yeah, it's cold here, boys. Cold, cold, cold. And I do have my Flyers jersey on. We got a win last night, George, against the defending Stanley Cup champion after being down 2-0 early.
Congrats.
Lots of fun, but not as fun as what's going on in Dallas, guys.
Okay,
I stand with Kelly. I want total mayhem in the Big D. I want Deion Sanders in the worst way, man, in my division.
So, okay, because they are in the same division with EAGLES, would he make a good pro coach? Let me ask both of you that.
I mean, he knows what it takes to be a professional athlete, and he would treat people professionally. The question is, would he put a good enough staff around him, and would Jerry Jones leave him alone? George, my take on it is, as long as Jerry Jones is breathing air, the Cowboys are going to be a boy band, and their main purpose is to sell products and make bad music. And they don't even care now if they even make good music. They're like a boy band without even good singers now. They're just, the girls have all grown up and they're still singing the same songs. I mean, if they're not careful, they're going to be playing the casino circuit very soon.
Oh,
they were
wow.
selling out stadiums all over the world. And I mean, and here's the thing, you guys were talking about it. This thing sets up perfectly for the Titans, because what if he goes there? And what if all of a sudden you got an owner there that promises this guy, it could be turned into a total circus. And if the Titans play their cards right, I mean, the Dak Prescott thing came up on the air with me today, and I don't follow the ins and outs of it enough to know what you guys were talking about in the last segment, which is that, at the end of the day, that's not feasible for the Titans to get involved with Dak Prescott. He's $50 million cap hit or some crazy thing like that.
Yeah.
Next couple years for a guy that's 34 years old and can't stay healthy anyway. But from the Titans, I say, hey, I'll tell you what. How about for that first pick, you flip me Micah Parsons and give me a couple picks on top of that? That's what I would do.
Yeah, why not?
Why wouldn't you? I try to rework my organization.
You're the one.
I try to rework my deal, man, if I'm them.
The Titans, if that were to come to play, are the one in control because they hold that card.
Yeah. Yes,
that's right.
And you said it. The other thing is, you get an owner that's kind of up there in age. He's like Leon Hess with the Jets. These guys get desperate, and he's made a total mess there. And maybe Deion sells him. Look, I don't think Deion's son's a very good player, but I didn't think the Daniels guy was going to do what he's doing. I don't know how you can tell from college to pros anymore who can play and who can't. Maybe Kelly can. I can't. It doesn't seem like the pros can either. It seems like it's getting harder and harder to see who can really play and who can help you. But the thought occurred to me, if any organization was stupid enough to flip you 2 or 3 first-round draft picks, this side of the Cleveland Browns and what they did with Houston, it would be those guys. And I would bet you that Deion Sanders with Jerry Jones will be a total train wreck. So if you're the Titans and you can fleece them out of several picks, why wouldn't you do that?
Absolutely.
Because you're going to be picking really highly in the upcoming draft. They're all going to be top 10 type picks. If I could get multiple top 10 type picks, because I would bet against Dallas winning. That would be my calculation I would make is I would bet against them long-term winning, George. I don't think they win. As long as Jerry Jones is alive, they're not going to win. They've proven it.
So Schefter threw out a name today that's near and dear in these parts, and that's former University of Tennessee tight end Jason Witten. When you hear that, what do you think?
As a coach?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Schefter threw it out there.
I mean, with the Cowboys, you'd a name you want to throw out there and make a case for it.
Kelly?
I don't know, man. It's just with Deion. Deion's kind of the same thing in Colorado. He's had a little bit of success, but just because you were a great player at a certain place, that doesn't mean you're going to be a good coach. And everybody kept saying, well, Peyton's going to come back and he's going to be in Tennessee and he's going to go up there and help Tennessee and he's going to be the Titans head coach. And I'm like, why would Peyton do that? He's a legend in the state, and the only thing you can do is go down from here. So why would he do that? And that's kind of the same thing for Jason Witten. Jason Witten is admired there. He's loved there. He's the greatest tight end ever to play at Dallas. And why would you go down there and do that? And because you're going to get fired at some point. You're either going to be good or you're going to be bad, but you're going to get fired. And I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it ever.
What great Hall of Fame football player this side of Mike Ditka who was insane, but who was good for about 5 minutes in Chicago.
The
A
Bears.
Hall of Fame football player did it.
Well, I mean, Raymond Berry lives in Murfreesboro here, and I've eaten lunch with Raymond a couple of times. I like him a lot, but like he coached, but was he overly successful? I mean, I know that he took the Patriots to the Super Bowl that one
Yeah.
year. He took them, and they got ramrodded by the Chicago Bears in '85.
The same Super Bowl.
Other than that, I don't know of any other coach that's been really successful doing that. Like Bill Cowher, you could say. I mean, Bill Cowher played, but he wasn't a Hall of Famer. You know,
No,
it's just different. Yeah, it's just different, George. It's different being a player, and then going to be a coach. Because I had somebody tell me that one time. Like, I was thinking about going and coaching the NFL, and he was like, "Well, you got to start at the bottom." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I played." And he was like, "Yeah, but just because you play don't mean that you're going to be a good coach. I've got to see it first to understand where you are, and then we'll go from there."
Yeah, and the Sanders thing, he's so much about his brand, and he's so exhausting, and that's why I hope it happens. And if I'm the Titans, I say to them, hey, look, we want multiple picks. Or give me Parsons and give me some picks.
I will tell you this, George.
Initially I thought Dak Prescott would be a good move, and then I got to looking at his contract, and there's no way you're bringing that in. There's no way you're bringing that in unless, like in baseball, where they pay 80% of it. And even if they paid 80% of it, I'm not sure I'd want to pay $10 million for Dak Prescott, because I don't know what you get out of him. I don't know how much treads on his tires when you look at him.
It's called cost prohibitive.
No doubt about it.
So let me ask one that this has nothing to do with this, but my guess is some things. I didn't get a chance to see it Saturday. Rick Barnes going back to Austin. What was it like, and was it really special to him, or has enough time passed that it's just another game?
No, it's special to him. It's the second time they've done it, and this time they got there early. Now, some would say they got there early because of the weather. The truth is they got there early because they got there early, and Barnes wanted to spend some extra time down there. He's got a lot of friends in the area still. And he's got a lot of friends that love him. And he really thinks the world of this Rodney Terry guy, who I give Rodney Terry a lot of credit because he can't coach a lick. But they have a lot of talent, but he doesn't know. They don't fit together, but they have a lot of talent. George, they're going to be 0-5 in the league. They're going to look up and be 0-5 in the league. And but they've got a ton of talent. They've got a kid that's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. But Saturday night was kind of a special night because at the end of the day, Tennessee is very shorthanded. So every time they take the floor, they're in a little bit of danger of being exposed. And the last couple nights, their star hasn't shot the ball really well. And Darnold Stone-Dubar, who's been a bit player for them / a doghouse guy, he doesn't get in the double figures the other night, they don't get out of there with a win. So it was a pretty interesting basketball game.
Yeah. And they come in here Saturday afternoon to play Vandy.
Yes.
Kelly, I'm assuming that you're alert, you're into it the way Tony wants you to be.
So when you say exposed, was it kind of they went 15-0 and they were number 1 in the country, and then they go down to they play Florida and they get hammered. Is that concerning to you, and is that what you're talking about, being exposed, or not really?
No, because in this league you're going to take beatings. Everybody's going to take them. Auburn this year is going to walk on the court with somebody, and somebody's going to smoke them. And it'll be a road game. It'll be a road game like that, So no, what I'm talking about is right now, Cade Phillips, who's John David Phillips' kid, that played quarterback at Alabama. He's one of Tennessee's last big people that's kind of functional. His shoulder is such right now that he went to dunk a ball the other night. His shoulder popped out against Arkansas.
Ooh.
And so against Florida, he played like 4 minutes. And we all thought, well, he played 4 minutes because it was a blowout and he's fine and good to go. They kind of lied to us a little bit, which is okay. Whatever. That happens all the time. Texas game, he goes up for a dunk, and you can see he can't even get to the rim because he can't even get his arm up above his shoulder to dunk a ball. So he has to lay a ball up a little while later with his offhand, which is never a good sign. He went 0-2 from the foul line. He only played a few minutes, which is why they let this other guy play. And Darnold Stone-Dubar ended up having a good night. Meshack, another guy they're counting on, whose hand is so injured that Texas was just sloughing off of him. They were just going to let him shoot. And so it's really affected his outside shooting. Tennessee coming into that game had 8 players. And now they're down a player and a half. I mean, they've got generously, they've got 6.5 to 7.5 players on board going forward. And that's because Carr left at midseason. They weren't expecting, and Estrella left. They started the season with short numbers anyway. They knew they were only going to start the season with 10. And so they made a decision to go with less numbers. And they didn't think this kind of thing would happen, but they're one injury away from this thing not being very funny. As it is right now, it's interesting watching them get through what is a very difficult SEC.
So our soft society, Tony, I heard the other day what Coach Barnes said about Chaz Lanier, and I loved it. I'm sure you loved it as well. I'm sure we all loved it, but Billy's generation probably didn't take too kindly to it. So has he gotten any flack? But, Chaz Lanier has kind of been the guy that, and we talked about it last week, when, he's kind of becoming this coach that is finding diamonds in the rough. He found Dalton Connect, and now he found the Chaz Lanier kid. But has anybody, so nobody was upset about that, which I wouldn't. I thought it was great. And I wish, I even watched the deal with the UCLA coach last night who was talking about his kids being soft. I mean, it sounds like we're probably going to start getting more of this from coaches sounding off about it.
They got beat last night.
Well, George, basketball coaches have always been guys that get before microphones and rip their players. That's a time-honored tradition. Rick Barnes, you're going to play for him. He's going to hard coach you. And if you don't be hard coached and you don't want him getting on you, you don't want him getting on you publicly, then don't go play for Rick Barnes. He doesn't bully people. He's not like that. But he simply said, look, and I love it because he said it out loud, because he doesn't even pretend like, oh, well, we didn't really pay him. I like how these coaches act like we're still not paying these guys. Like they're just coming because, they struck all these NIL deals with local car dealerships and stuff. I mean, give me a break. He said, look, we're paying this guy to shoot a ball. George, we're paying this guy to shoot the basketball. And we called a play for him right at the beginning of the second half, and he didn't shoot the ball. And I took him out of the game. And I said, look, kid, we brought you here and paid you to shoot the ball. I don't care if you're 3 for 9. Nobody asked you what your numbers were. Just, we called the play for you. You shoot the shot. They have another guy on their team, this Milicic guy, who's driving them nuts. He's doing the same kind of thing. He's passing up open shots. And Barnes has this reputation from people they think, oh, because you take a bad shot, he takes you out. That's not how he is. If you don't play defense, he takes you out. If you pass up open shots, he will take you out. He wants his guys shooting open shots.
Tony, what are the chances? We've talked a lot about Zakai Ziegler and how important he is to Tennessee. When he leaves, it's hard to imagine Tennessee basketball without him. Is there any chance in your mind that Barnes hangs it up after Ziegler leaves?
No, because they're going to do that 5-year thing. And so I predict, guys, they're going to do that in the spring, and Ziegler will be back next year.
So you think they're going to pass that?
Oh, I know they're going to pass in March. That's going to happen. They have to.
Oh, wow.
And then what's going to happen is other people are going to say, well, I want 6 years. I want 7 years. I want 8 years. And George, I don't know how the courts stop that. I don't know how anybody stops that. I think the cat's out of the bag now. You're going to keep me from making a living. I can't go get a second. I want to be smart like Billy. I want to go get a second or third degree. I mean, who's going to stop these kids? So I'm foreseeing a world where Rick Barnes is coaching at 80 and Zakai Ziegler's 32 years old and he's got gray hair on his chin.
Listen, when one of these kids, Kelly, when one of these kids pulls out an AARP card, that's when you'll know it's gone a little too far.
We've gone too far here, fellas.
Well,
we already have.
Kelly Holcomb will figure out a way. Kelly will be when he hears the word no.
No, I'm out.
You
dude.
could light
I'm
these
out.
college defenses up, Kelly. Come on.
Hey, I've been blessed, man. I'm good. I don't have to beat my body up. I've got a nice retirement from the NFL. It's still growing. I'm good, man. I'm good.
And God bless you.
Yes,
absolutely.
Because we certainly don't have that in radio.
No.
Billy, did you have anything else for your leader?
How do you feel about Diego Pavia coming back to Vanderbilt?
I love him. He's my favorite player in the SEC this past year. I hope he doesn't get all beat up and become like that Grayson McCall kid last year.
Oh, gosh.
I hate seeing these guys expose themselves. I hope he learns how to get on the ground. I love that he's such a competitor. Look, I saw the same thing with Nico in that Ohio State game, and I know there's a time and a place for everything. There is no reason for a quarterback to take the kind of beating some of these guys take. Get on the ground. Be like the Mannings.
Tony, EAGLES, man. I think they might do. They're really good, and I think it's going to be Detroit and the Eagles. But I just don't know if anybody's got anything for the Eagles this year. They're physical. They're the number one defense in the National Football League. They can run the football, and if Jalen Hurts stays healthy and he doesn't turn the ball over, I think they may win this thing.
Hey, George, Vic Fangio is so old, their DC. This guy's so old school and so old. He was on Jim Mora's staff with the Philadelphia Stars when I was going to games in the old Veterans Stadium in the USFL.
He was old. He was old when I was with the Colts, Tony.
He is so next level, isn't he? How next level is he? Fangio.
Vic's a good dude, man. I like Vic a lot, man. He is not scared either.
He's done a great job there. They take on his personality. Now, I will tell you this, Nakobe Dean, who they've been waiting a couple years for him to get online and get with the program and show what he showed at Georgia, really had a great year, and now he's gone. So that's going to be a loss to them. I've got a feeling the Rams are going to go to Philly and play them really well this weekend. Now, I could be Negadelphian over here.
No, they could.
It would not surprise me if the Rams beat the Eagles this weekend.
Rams are really good.
Really would not.
Will AJ be reading during the game?
Can you imagine that, George?
I just don't see Vrabel having been okay with that. And Kelly, that might be why we never saw the book.
Yeah, who knew? What do you guys think he was reading? I mean, what do you think?
Shakespeare.
No question. I'll tell you this, guys. The NFL's first round is a cash grab. That first round of that playoff, when they went to that tier deal, these twos playing these sevens, unless your two's the Dallas Cowboys, that seven's going to get blown out. I'm sorry. And did we see any? I know everybody rips the college football playoff. Did we see anything in the NFL's first round that was worth watching last weekend? Besides that Sunday night game?
Tampa, Washington.
That's it.
That was it.
That's it. But this week, the games are going to get better. It's a great
college season still goes too long, Tony. It still goes too long. They got to fix this.
You get an argument from me. You get an argument. They need to take those. They need to take those championship games and do away with them, but they're not going to.
No
money
and lots of
money.
Okay, so a person is watching or listening to the show today, and they're maybe new to the community, and they're saying that Tony Basilio, he is one interesting cat
or one imbecile, which would be appropriate, but
they can say both. How do they hear you?
Yeah. tclub.team is where you find us again. tclub.team. And George, it's always great, man, to saddle up to a Hall of Famer like yourself and hang out and break it down scientifically with you. And Kelly, I gotta say to you, man, after the pep talk that I gave Kelly back in the fall, some heard it, some didn't, but when Kelly is fully engaged, it's Billy that I'm worried about. Billy looked, how do you put this?
Pale.
He looked, he looked horizontal almost.
Put yourself back in the future.
He's just upset because Ohio State's going to put a drubbing on the Fighting Irish this
I
weekend.
don't think so.
Keep doubting him.
I
No,
don't
I
care
don't
if you
think
don't
so.
think so or not. That's what's happening.
No, I don't think so. I think that Ohio State team's really well. I think that Notre Dame team's really well coached, and they're better at the line of scrimmage than people think they are.
Not going to help.
And there is our Catholicism moment.
Thank you, buddy.
And Tony, I just wanted to say your pep talk did not change me, not one iota. But thanks for that. As long as you know that.
It's not true. I coached you up.
Oh,
Kelly,
it's totally true.
Man. And you're highly
totally
coachable. You're highly coachable.
Now, I'm not saying I'm not highly coachable, but it had no effect on me whatsoever.
When you've improved, don't show a bad attitude about it, Kelly. That's not cool. You've improved.
Kelly.
Run it, man. It's cool.
T-Club.team, man. T-Club.team.
Kelly, no, hold on. Let's here real quick. He's in your head.
No. I love him. I love him.
No. There's nobody in my head, I promise you that, especially Tony Basilio, brother.
I love it.
Tony, love you guys.
See you guys next week.
See you, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Oh, he is a beauty. I love talking to him. He is so much fun. By the way, he's a future Hall of Famer.
He's good, man. I like Tony. He's easy to talk to, and he's knowledgeable, and he spills the beans, and he tells the truth, and tells what's going on in his head, and I love it.
He has been in that market a long time, and he's done it without sucking up to, shall we say, the big
George
man.
Plasters of the world.
Well, no, it doesn't have anything to do with it. Okay, after the break, we'll get into the case involving Sam Darnold. How much money have the last 2 weeks cost him? This is 94.9, The Fan. This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety. If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com. Are you concerned about the Medicare Part D changes for 2025? Believe me, you're not alone. You need to contact Pancoast Benefits. They'll make the changes clear and easy to understand. Trust Pancoast to guide you through it all. Their knowledgeable team is here to help you understand the updates and make informed decisions about your Medicare coverage. Don't navigate these changes alone. Call Pancoast Benefits today at 615-292-3400 and choose option 3, or visit pancoastbenefits.com. That's 615-292-3400 and choose option 3.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank and Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank and Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
A lot of people want to define teams by singular performances.
Sports. Did he not go back into the game after that interception?
Let's get this turned around. And we're all saying, no, they don't.
Here.
You thought you were on your way.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Can you imagine the depression today in Minneapolis? 2 weeks ago, the Vikings were riding high. They felt like a 1 seed. They were 14-2. And in the span of 9 days, out, gone, really gone. And in the process, Kelly, Sam Darnold has taken on some water.
Yeah.
Because the Sam Darnold of the first 16 weeks was really not the Sam Darnold of the last 2. You kind of say that last night is not his fault. And
well, some of it is.
I see some. Okay. So let's get to it, because at times what I saw the last 2 weeks, Darnold looked shell-shocked.
Played 2 really good football teams the last 2 weeks. Detroit, he did not play good. 18-41 is just not going to get it done, especially when you're playing now the number 1 seed in the playoffs for the NFC. So he didn't play well. You're right. Last night, if you watch the game, like, you give up 9 sacks, George, you're not getting any help from up front. And you talked about it. The LA Rams played big boy football last night, and the Minnesota Vikings up front did not. And they said, we're going to take their defensive plan was, we're going to take Justin Jefferson away from you, and we're going to play man-to-man on everybody else, and somebody else is going to have to beat us. And they couldn't. That's kind of what happened. And you talk about he holding the ball too long. He did hold the ball, but when there's nobody open, it makes you hold the ball a little bit longer to try to see if your guy can win against man-to-man coverage. And that's virtually what they did. They said, we're not going to let Justin Jefferson beat us in this football game, and we're going to make your other guys. And they couldn't. They're all professionals, but the professionals for the Minnesota Vikings could not hold up against the professionals of the LA Rams, and that's why Darnold had the night. And when you're getting hit like that, George, I don't care who you are. If it's Tom Brady, if it's Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and when you're getting hit that many times, it has an effect on you, and you start seeing things, you start getting jittery in the pocket, and that happened to Sam Darnold last night. So you're right, George. They ended up 14-3, I think. They were 14-2 going in the Detroit game. They ended up 14-3. But everything that they did and all the hopes that they had going into this thing got dashed last night, because they went up against a better football team who beat them earlier in the year for their first loss. So obviously the Rams match up good with them, and obviously the Rams feel confident. Sean McVay feels confident calling plays against them, and defensively they just felt like they matched up against the Minnesota Vikings, and Sam Darnold had nowhere to go with the ball. He was a little late. I don't know if he was shell-shocked, but when you're getting hit that many times, George, it certainly has an effect on you.
I thought Sean McVay thoroughly outcoached Kevin O'Connell. Their plan of attack, I mean, they attacked from the first snap of the game. You know, obviously they had the emotional advantage in that game. I don't know if there was anybody else who's not a fan of the Vikings that wasn't cheering for the Rams last night after what their city has been through.
Sure.
But McVay's a heck of a coach, and we get reminded of that this time of year, the last few seasons.
So I'm dying to say this. Yesterday, Sam Darnold went down 9 times, Mrs. Geller. Joe Burrow 3 years ago in a playoff game against the Titans.
That's right.
9 times. So let me ask. That felt good to say that.
The opposing quarterback threw 3 interceptions.
Well, he did.
That's the difference.
He did. That is the difference. So let me ask this question. Because 2 weeks ago, Darnold was set to hit the jackpot somewhere, whether it's the Titans, Vegas. He was going to be a free agent, and Minnesota had decisions to make. And it felt like they were leaning toward keeping him. Number one, what does Minnesota do now that he's shown a little bit of the old Sam Darnold? And secondly, did this cost him any money, or is the NFL so hungry for any level of quarterback that this will have no effect?
The big word in the National Football League is evaluation. They're evaluating. And right now, I don't understand, like, how do you evaluate Sam Darnold? Is he the Sam Darnold of old? Was he the Sam Darnold of the season this year? Or was he the Sam Darnold, and he's reverted back to the last 2 games of the New York Jets Sam Darnold, who couldn't find his way, who's on a bad team? I don't know, George. And I think Troy Aikman even said it last night on the telecast, might not get as much money as he thought he was going to get going into all this. Like 2 games ago, he was riding the wave. He was playing well, and then he's played 2 really good teams the last 2 weeks and just hadn't played well, George. So yeah, I think that's going to cost him some money. I really do. Now, if he gets with the right situation, but I don't know. That's just a hard thing for me to say because he's got guys around him in Minnesota, and up until yesterday, he'd played, and the Detroit game, he'd played really well. But I just don't know how you evaluate that right now, and that's some concern for teams that are looking for a free agent. But he's an upgrade from a lot of these guys that he's shown this year. Now, can he get in the right situation, and can he get some protection, and can he get around people that can help him do his job and do it like he did this year? I don't know, but I think he did cost himself some money these last 2 games.
Would you take the chance on him?
It depends on who I had starting quarterback. I mean, is it Bryce Young? Are you sold on a Bryce Young? Are you sold on a Will Levis? Are you sold on?
Well, okay, let's just go Levis, because our listeners don't care what's going on with Bryce Young. Let's go Levis.
Right. Yeah. If I'm the Titans, yeah, I go after him. Yes, I do. He's an upgrade from, and he's been around the league. He's going to bring some experience. Played well this year and most of the year. I think you've got to get him some pieces around him. But yes, if it's me, I'm taking him over Will Levis, no doubt.
Okay. Would we admit the pieces were there in Minnesota? You've got
correct. Yes.
Guys on the outside, a really good tight end in Hawkinson, running backs that are just fine. But there came a point last night, Kelly, where, and again, I haven't played the position. Now, I did in 5th grade, but I have not played the position. But there were throws from about the middle of the 2nd quarter on where he wasn't anywhere close.
Yeah, because he's getting hit. And he's getting people in his face, and he's getting pressured, and that's. Hey, I go back to the old Al Davis saying, you've got to hit the quarterback and you've got to hit him hard. And when you do that, there's this little guy in your head saying, you start seeing things that are really not there sometimes. Now, most of the time they were there last night, but sometimes when you think you don't have time and you do have a little bit of time, you're going to speed up because you've been getting knocked around quite a bit, and your footwork is your feet are not where they're supposed to be, and that's what happened to him on some of those throws. He was missing short because he was rushing the process. That's where golfers talk about when they're walking down the fairway for a big putt or something. You got to kind of slow down. You got to relax. You can't get sped up. And last night when he was getting hit, Sam Darnold got sped up, and that's what happens to you.
Okay, Billy, I need a quick, concise answer. If you're the Titans, do you go after Sam Darnold?
Yes.
Thank you.
You have to at least try.
That was pretty decisive.
Yeah.
We'll go to the break. Stat of the day, followed by Deion in Big D. This is 94.9, The Fan.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket. The Predators win! Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
You wear toe shoes to work out?
I have a pair of those.
Aren't your toes too big for that?
I have a pair of toe shoes that I wear.
That is the single most surprising thing you've ever said on this show.
So I got a little home gym set up, and in my home gym, I put on the toe shoes.
I don't believe
What
it.
size shoe
I
do you
don't
wear?
believe it.
15.
So they're size 15 toe shoes.
Yeah.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Bowling is generally just fun. Like you're not gonna have a bad time if you decide to go to the bowling alley, whether you're going on a date or whether you're going with a group of folks. You can always go bowl and have a good time.
We need to bring back roller skating.
Oh, roller skating
I
is
miss
so
going to the
fun.
roller rink.
Oh, it's so fun.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday mornings starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. This is Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Let me tell you about what it is about the logos. It's the iconism. I'm going to make up a word, iconism.
We please live that. I mean, if we're just putting new words in Webster's right now.
Iconism, baby.
Definition?
Iconic as hell.
This is Freddie and Harry.
So, Freddie, I'll ask you, since half of you are the Cowboy fan here.
No, the full is me. I'm a full Cowboys fan and Jets fan.
No,
Yeah,
Freddie. There's no such thing. You cannot be a full Jets fan and a full Cowboys fan. You have two teams. So 50% of you is a Jets fan. 50% of you is a Cowboys fan.
Shannon, ask the question before I strangle Harry.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
When you want all the
going in and the score, blast the score. He risks one, they score.
And don't forget the
oh, what a stop! Sliding across to make the save. Backhander, nice stop.
When all you want is Smashville, we have you covered. Hear every Predators game right here. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
The people who are making the pick, they value J.C. Latham enough to take him at 7.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talking with TD podcast.
You need help in the trenches on defense. You got that.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Talking a little Deion to Big D, potentially, coming up. But first, stat of the day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, or Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to applecollisioncenters.com. All right, we're going NFL today. Sam Darnold was sacked 9 times by the Rams, tied for the most in a playoff game. Can you name either of the quarterbacks who hold this record with Darnold? One is recent and one is older.
The one's Joe Burrow.
Yes. 9 times.
That is correct.
One's older.
Other one. Could the other one, Kelly, be Troy Aikman against Philly?
Ooh. That's
Body
a good
bag
guess, George.
kind of stuff.
That's a good guess. You know what? That beats anything I've got. That's a good guess because they got after him one day really good.
That was called the body bag game, although I think it was a regular season game. But let's see what we got here.
Warren Moon.
Moon.
Oh, wow.
Do we know the team?
Yeah, what game was that, Billy?
Not sure.
Was it the Oilers or was it the Vikings?
That's a good point too.
It's a good question. I think it was the Oilers.
Okay.
He was sacked 12 times on September 29th, 1985, in a loss to the Cowboys at the Astrodome.
However, there are no playoff games in September.
Well, never mind then.
Yeah.
Well, I don't do these stat of the days, so.
Yeah, of course. We welcome all of you into the 4 o'clock hour, officially from our digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. In the picture, if you're watching, is former NFL quarterback Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, we are now going to discuss Deion. And I want you to hear me out on this.
All right.
Even though you think I have a big mouth, and most people
everybody thinks you have a big mouth, George.
Right, and I get that. However, a couple of times in my career, in job situations, I have kept things airtight, where only years later did people like Willie ever find out, oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, most of the time when an owner and a potential candidate get together for a coaching gig, it's usually under a veil of total secrecy, right?
Yeah.
And yet yesterday, it was out within like 6 hours. I mean, McCarthy's body wasn't even cold yet.
No.
His official contract with the Cowboys wasn't even over. And yet Deion was yap to anybody and everybody, including Adam Schefter. Now, is it possible that part of what Jerry Jones wanted, whether he wants Deion or not, we'll only know when we know? But is it possible that old Jerry's sitting there saying, you know what? The Cowboys suck. They're out of sight and they're out of mind. And I value sizzle more than any owner in the league. So what the hell? I'm putting in a call. I'm doing everything but flying a helicopter over the nation to say I've made the call to Deion. Don't you think that's a little interesting?
And it's a good point, George. I haven't thought about that. You do bring some awfully good points in some of the discussions we have, and you know what? That could be that could be something to be said about that. The Cowboys are kind of the biggest brand. They're I think they're worth more than anybody else in the National Football League with what Jerry's put into it and what Jerry's done. And normally you're talking about the Cowboys, and now nobody's talking about the Cowboys. So this is kind of a sizzle deal where I think you're right about Jerry Jones. He's always been in the limelight. He's always liked the limelight. The limelight's always been about him. And I think just what Tony Basilio was talking about, as long as he's there, you're never going to get the success that they had back in the days that I bring up all the time with Jimmy Johnson, because he wants to be the reason. And maybe that's the deal. Maybe he wanted to get primetime out there because primetime's on all these commercials. He's won. Let's be honest. Deion's won everywhere he's gone. He went to Jackson State. He won there. Now he's at Colorado. I think he probably hoped it was going to be a bigger splash, but it's not easy when you're in Colorado to do something big like Coach McCartney did back in the day. It's difficult, but he's won there and he's been pretty successful. So this could be a splash move. I don't know if Jerry Jones is serious about it, but I think he may be, because I will say this about Deion. Last year it got a little bit. He won. It was overwhelming with some of the stuff he was talking about with his sons, and that kind of stirred me the wrong way. But when he first got there and he was talking about all the things he was talking about, I was agreeing, because I think he's brutally honest with kids, and I think he's brutally honest with guys. And when you're in the National Football League and you're dealing with men, they like brutal honesty. Sometimes you don't like it because it's brutally honest, but hey, I'm a man. I've got to figure it out. I can either take it as good criticism or I can just melt under the pressure. And I think that's what Deion brings to the table. I think he can bring a true sense of honesty, of truth, and telling guys where they are in their careers, what they can help with, and he's going to tell them what he thinks of them and what he thinks of their game. But the whole thing with me is he's wanting both of his sons, and I just don't know how that gets done. I really don't. And I was thinking this morning, because I knew we were talking about this, but Deion was a Hall of Fame guy. He was a two-sport athlete, played for the Atlanta Braves. He played baseball, and he was an unbelievable corner. I've told you the story about when he if people out there in Radio Land haven't heard it, I heard a story when he went to the Cowboys. Well, the DB coach took him into the room and he was talking about all this coverage and all that, and what are you doing on this certain coverage? And he looked at the coach and he said, "Hey man, I ain't into that coverage stuff. Just tell me the number I got." And that's kind of Deion, you know what I'm saying? Just tell me who I got, man to man. And that's what he did. That's why he was so good. But just because he was a Hall of Famer doesn't mean that his sons are going to be, and doesn't mean that his sons have his talent. Now, I like Shedeur. I don't know how he's going to fit in the National Football League. I think he's a tough kid. He kind of got a little exposed, as everybody talked about in the BYU game, but it's just like what happened to Sam Darnold. He was getting hit around quite a bit. And when that happens to a quarterback, I don't care who you are, it affects you. And I think the guy can throw the ball. I think he's a leader. I think he's pretty tough. I don't know if he's going to have the same career as his dad. I don't know about Shiloh either. Nobody ever really talks about Shiloh. So that's going to be one of the things that when Deion goes in and talks, he's going to want that. He's going to want to make sure that his sons are going to be on his team. And I just don't know how you accomplish that. I don't know how you do that. And there's if you do go there, there's one big roadblock in the way, and that's Dak Prescott and his money. So I don't know, George. It could be just trying to get some buzz about the Dallas Cowboys again and just talking to him, and it really means nothing, or it could be something to it. So it's going to be interesting to see in the next couple of days.
This reminds me of the Ball brothers. When you knew if you were going to draft Lonzo, you were going to get his dad. So it's kind of the other way around. If you hire Deion Sanders, if you're the Cowboys, you got to get both his sons, he said. So, and Shedeur Sanders right now for most mock drafts is a second-round guy. I doubt he goes in the first, unless, we'll see what the Cowboys do. But that's a lot that you're bringing with you if you bring in Deion Sanders, like Kelly just said. So I don't see it happening, but man, I would love to see it.
Well, is it possible that what it really is Jerry saying, look, I'm going to usurp the Commanders and all the press they're getting. I'm going to usurp the Eagles and all the press they're getting, because I will at least get this week equal billing at the possibility of Deion. Look, best as we know, Jerry hasn't offered it. Best as we know, as of early this morning, other than the phone call, they hadn't even met. But it sure feels like it was almost like Jerry said, and by the way, Deion, if you want to let it out there, have at it.
Yeah, he's a business guy, that's for sure, and he's going to create a splash with what he's doing. And you're right on, George, with what the Commanders are doing right now with Jaden Daniels. And this guy's a rookie, and he's come in and he's done what he's done. They've got a pretty good team around him too. The McLaurin guy is really a good player, and they've got defensively. Bobby Wagner's kind of sealed everything up and brought some leadership to that locker room, and they're really good. And then you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, which I think the Philadelphia Eagles they may be the most dominating football team. Now, I think they're probably, like Tony said, they're going to get challenged this week by the Rams, but they still got to go to Philly, and I still don't think that the Rams can beat them, because they do what I always say travels. They can run the football. Their quarterback can run the football. He's just a running back who's versatile, that can throw the ball some. That's kind of what he is. And defensively, they're number one in the league. So I think Jerry is kind of playing this out right now and trying to bring a little attention back to the Cowboys with his brand. He feels as his brand is the biggest in the National Football League, and right now nobody's talking about him. So he's kind of got a little bit of publicity down in Dallas.
I don't know if y'all were watching, but as soon as I saw Troy Aikman take the stage there, I pulled up a chair and started watching that. He said, I thought Mike McCarthy would be the head coach this coming season, so this is a bit of a surprise. It suggests that there's not a real plan. To say that it's a coveted job, I'm not sure I would necessarily agree with that. He said, I think McCarthy's an outstanding coach. He's proven that in this league, but you also have to empower that head coach. And that's been what's been missing in Dallas since Jimmy Johnson walked out the door.
And the real surprise is that Troy had enough clout to get Jimmy and Jerry back in a room to kiss and make up to whatever level they did after all these years. But you think about some of the coaches he's had. Campo, Wade Phillips. Those guys don't get all the press after the game. Jerry does. Well, all of a sudden, hiring Deion, total change. Can Jerry handle where everybody looks at him and says, Jerry, I'd love to talk to you, but screw you, Deion's talking.
But it seems like Jimmy Johnson was kind of an alpha male, and those other guys, I'm not saying they're not alpha males, but they don't really have to have like Wade Phillips, like Dave Campo, like all those other guys, Mike McCarthy. They don't have to be in that limelight, and that's kind of the guy that it seems like Jerry Jones goes for. He goes for the guys that's subservient to him and won't get in the limelight. And I don't know if Jimmy just was that alpha male, and if it's me and I'm the owner, I'm going to ride that thing out with Jimmy Johnson as long as I can and win as many as I can. And his ego got in the way, and he just didn't allow it to happen, which that's what's happening now. His ego's in the way, and he just won't let guys coach the team. He's got to meddle. He's got to do something, and that's why they're where they're at right now.
I do not believe Deion will be the next coach of the Cowboys. How about y'all?
I would love to see it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm up in the air. I'm not sure that I'm sold on it. I'm kind of 50-50, but it wouldn't surprise me, George. It really wouldn't.
Okay, let's do this. Let's go to the break, and then let's open up the phone lines and take it wherever you want to take it. But certainly would love to hear some of your opinions about Deion and Jerry,
Also,
if you so desire.
Warren Moon was sacked 9 times against the Chiefs in 1994, not 84, I think I said.
Yeah,
The Chiefs.
Spagnuolo was not the defensive coordinator.
No, he was not.
Okay, phone lines are open at 615-553-0933. Again, 615-553-0933. Billy, how can one reach us non-telephonically?
The chat room is open on YouTube right now. Just look to your right if you're watching on a laptop, but also on your phone as well. It's easy to type in a question on Twitter and Facebook. You can swipe up as well and chat, comment, fire away a question. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay. We open it up to you guys and gals next on 94.9 The Fan.
As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety. If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join mnpd.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Are you concerned about the Medicare Part D changes for 2025? Believe me, you're not alone. You need to contact Pancoast Benefits. They'll make the changes clear and easy to understand. Trust Pancoast to guide you through it all. Their knowledgeable team is here to help you understand the updates and make informed decisions about your Medicare coverage. Don't navigate these changes alone. Call Pancoast Benefits today at 615-292-3400 and choose option 3, or visit pancoastbenefits.com. That's 615-292-3400 and choose option 3. To 3400 and choose option 3. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join mnpd.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we'll head to the phones, head to the text questions and comments in just a second. Would love to get a new caller today. Somebody who's just found out about us and decided they wanted to call in. That's 615-553-0933. Dallas Cowboy fan, Eric, on line one. Eric, welcome.
Well, George, I thought about bringing it up yesterday, but I'm glad you kind of brought it up. But it's just so frustrating to hear all the stuff that's going on. You've got this comments, of course, from Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin talking about this team and how they run business and how they're not happy. And I don't blame them for not being happy. And what Aikman said, but it's not a prestigious job anymore, which it's not, because the whole Jerry Jones clown show, you had fans that were not showing up to games towards later season, checking out because they wanted McCarthy out. And I think Jerry Jones deliberately lowballed in the game. Like, I heard rumors it was a 2 or 3 year deal, but he wanted a 5-year deal. And I don't blame him for wanting out. You've got the whole thing with how he handles contracts, the way he paid Dak at the last minute, paid CeeDee Lamb at the last minute, could have done it a lot earlier, and trying to handle cap space and everything like that. And he'll probably do the same with Michael Parsons because his deal is coming up, and probably wait till last minute before he does anything with him. It's just insane. And as a Cowboys fan growing up, just seeing all this circus and clown show and sideshow stuff, it's like he doesn't take this seriously. He loves all the attention and he loves owning the team, but it's a horrible GM. And I think it goes back to, like I said, when Jimmy Johnson first came on, and Jimmy Johnson got most of the credit, and that's why he, of course, fired him, because he felt like, well, I'm the one that did all this, I should get more credit, because I guess he was jealous or whatever. And even though they did win the Super Bowl and it was very switch, I don't count that. But it's just, ever since then, he's never been the same, and he's kind of become, in some essence, like, I guess you would say, like an Al Davis or George Steinbrenner. He just throws around a lot of money, and he could handle the cap and a lot of this stuff better than he is. And it's just like, he doesn't care. And as long as he's around, they'll never win. And it's unfortunate until I guess he passes away. And I think this whole Deion thing is, as I'm Deion, I would not come there because he's not going to have control of the team that he wants or to make the moves, because Jerry's always going to be wanting to have his input no matter what. And it's just, it is what it is.
It is what it is, but I wonder if there's an added element to this at 82. When I hear him now, I don't know what the hell he's saying.
He's trying to win another Super Bowl, guys. I mean, that's kind of where he's at. But like, he meddles too much. That's his whole thing. The owners that I was around that meddled too much, it just never worked out. You have to be willing to hire people that are competent in your building, the personnel staff, the coaches, everybody around you that you trust. And he just wants to be the reason. That's why he meddles. He wants to be the reason. He's trying to get another Super Bowl, but he doesn't know how to. He's got to have his stamp of approval on it, when all it really matters is winning. And if we win, who cares who gets the credit? But that's not him. He wants the credit. And that's just like Eric's talking about, just like everybody's saying on all these Sports Center shows and everything, until something happens with him and he's not the owner anymore, I just see the Cowboys in this steady state of nothingness.
And the other thing going on, it appears that Steven, the son, is having no impact on his dad.
No. He's the one he's the one that holds, just like my coaches used to say, he holds the red pen, guys. And when he's making those checks and he's making those checks payable to somebody, he's the one that's in control. It comes down to the money. He's in control of the money, and he's in control of who he pays. And it's not going to go anywhere.
So, Eric, will Deion be the next coach of the Cowboys?
I don't know. If I was him, I wouldn't take that job. But it's just like you say, he's not willing to succeed, control, and let football people do that stuff. Because, if you want to be like the Kansas City Chiefs, do it the way they do it. They've won, I guess it's what it is, 2 straight going for a 3-peat. And as an owner, wouldn't you love to do that? But he's never going to succeed and give up control. I would be surprised if Deion becomes a coach, because I just can't imagine him going there knowing that he's not going to have the total control and be able to do things the way he wants to do. And I don't know if he'd want to deal with the egos of football players. We'll see what happens. But I would be surprised if it happens. But, guys, I'll get off and let you get some other callers. Y'all take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Eric, thank you. What do you got text-wise?
Well, from Randy, going by past history all the way back to the 90s, I don't know what channel out of the hundreds, but when George books it, the opposite happens.
I know.
Book it.
I know.
That's
why I'm saying that, Randy. Book it.
So, Kelly, there was a caller years ago who calls in and says, I really like the segment. And I used to call it Gifts to the People. Okay, I don't know where I came up with that, but Gifts to the People. And this guy calls in and he says, he says, I really enjoy that segment. And of course, I'm like, really? Well, thank you. And he goes, let me tell you why I enjoy the segment. He goes, because once you get finished, I pick up the phone, I call my bookie, and I go the other way.
Right now, with your record, I do the same.
Randy?
That
Boy,
could be Randy.
How
I might start doing
quickly
that.
we forget. I was 20 over 500.
I know, George. It's what have you done for me lately, brother?
I know it. It's a tough life. Tony in Nolensville. Tony, welcome.
Hello, George. Glad to talk to you guys today. I don't know what happened yesterday, but 3 times I was disconnected. And, man, I really wanted to get in. So I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit today about what I was going to say yesterday. And first of all, y'all had brought up about the Vanderbilt baseball yesterday and their ranking.
Yeah.
In the paper the other day, the Tennessean, they had a little part about Mike Baxter again. Of course, he's gone, thank God. But in his recruiting class going into this year, for the 2026 class, he had 1 recruit. When he got fired, of course, Tim went and got Duke's coach, Ty Blakemeyer.
Yep.
Since he's been here, the short time he's been here, he has got 8 of the top 100 players for the 2026 class. And the other day, they got a commitment, George, from a pitcher, get this now, 6'8", and he's a dual player, throws a 93-mile-per-hour fastball, and a power hitter first baseman. His name is R.J. Cope.
I thought you were going to say his name's Grayson Garvin.
That would have been nice, too. On your guys, I noticed this over the weekend. There, I read an article on the updated NIL. I don't know if y'all have seen some of the players. Shakur, he's now going up to $6.5 million. Travis Hunter's at 5.7. Of course, Olivia Dunn is still the top female at she's around $4.2 million a year. And this is what got me. Y'all talked a lot yesterday about Texas. Archie Manning, and Ewers, I think that's the way you say the Texas quarterback's name, they are being paid over $11 million between the 2 quarterbacks. Mm. They have the highest paid offensive line in college. What kind of offense they were running down there on 1st and goal from the 1 is beyond me. I mean, that was just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. George, I'm going to put you on the spot, but before I do, I'm going to say I hope Deion takes the job if offered in Dallas. I would love nothing more than a modern day George Steinbrenner, Billy Martin in the NFL.
Oh, man.
Exactly.
I'll say this, it wouldn't take long.
Right. Guys, this past weekend, Jim Nance was honored doing his 500th NFL game. George Plaster, in your illustrious Hall of Fame career, how many games have you broadcast over the years? I'm going to hang up and listen
oh, good
to this
Lord.
exciting answer. Talk to you guys. Thanks.
Okay, I got to think that I can't just rattle that one off. I got to think that one through. And what I'll try to do is have you an answer at the next break. So that's an interesting question. I've never.
Is it a bunch, George? Quite a few.
Yeah, because
Now, does that include football, basketball? What all does that entail?
Minor league baseball.
Wow.
Did you feel, like if you hadn't called a game in a while, that you get back on the mic, it's like, oh, this feels a little bit different, or could you always?
No. It
never.
No.
I wonder about that.
Backs are still in the I. Well, no, they're not in the I formation. I went back and listened to a tape of a game, and one of the things that's really different now is you've got so-and-so out of the shotgun, and you might have a pistol formation, which you never had back then. You've got potentially a guy coming around on a jet sweep. How would you call that? I mean, there's some terminology differences, but I mean, most of it's the same, and you have different announcers will say, for instance, in what is termed play action pass. I always just said
play fake.
Alan, play fakes back to throw. It's quicker that way. But different people have got different ways they do it.
George, I think we need to do a game, man. You need to be the play-by-play guy. I need to be the color guy, and Billy needs to be our spotter. How about that? Let's get it done.
Wow,
spotter.
You'll be lucky.
It's an important job, Billy. You don't understand. A spotter's an important job. You got to help.
You want to screw up the play-by-play guy? Get a crappy spotter.
Oh,
you
can't imagine
the tackle for the wrong team,
and you get blamed for it.
Yeah, maybe. I'll try to come up. I've never done this. I've never done this exercise.
Do you have a ballpark? I mean, because
it's over 500.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Now they weren't all on CBS.
Now, Jim Nantz has done 500 NFL games. I wonder how many basketball games he's done and how many golf rounds he's done.
Oh, I would think in his career, I would think the number 1,500 is close.
He's got to be the most
notable. Has to be. How long has he been doing it? How long has he been doing it, George?
Well, when they fired Brent Musburger, I want to say that was in 89 or 90. And then he sort of took over doing the NCAA.
Wow. That's a long time.
People say he's the best at golf.
Oh, he's really good.
I don't know. I've never met him.
The Masters.
Hello, friends.
Larry on line 3. Larry, are you a new caller?
George, I am a new caller.
Now, do you know what we need you to do?
Yes, and I've already done that. I've sent out a lot of emails to all my email friends. I'm from Southern Illinois. I've been down here 10 years.
Okay.
I'm a Southern Illinois Saluki grad.
Nice.
I sent out a mass email about the George Plaster Show and to a bunch of my friends, and several of them emailed me back and said, who? But I had to send it out, and no, I've been down here about 10 years. I come across you guys on the radio, I think it's about last May or June, and I've been listening pretty much ever since. I'm a retired school teacher, but I do work a little security, so I'm in a car at night, so I watch your guys' podcast every night, and I'll tell you, you guys are entertaining. I love listening to you. I love listening to that Tony Basilio. I've actually went on and listened to a couple times of his radio show at night. But he's hilarious. And but I know, being from Southern Illinois, I'm a Cardinal. I'm an old St. Louis Blues, Cardinals, old St. Louis football Cardinals fan. I go back when I was in my 20s. They were, Jim Hart and Neil Lomax and that whole crew and Coryell. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I went to several games at the Old Bush Stadium. Saw those guys: Mel Gray, Pat Tilley, Metcalf. But I am a Titans fan now. I've been down here long enough that I do follow the Titans, and that's one of the things that I tell people down here. Listen, I know things are really bad right now, and it seems like, you're never going to dig your way out of this. But listen, St. Louis lost 2 football teams. They lost one, and they had one taken away from them. So until you lose a team, you don't know, what it's like. I mean, it's pretty devastating. They do have the Cardinals and the Blues, and so they've carried on from there. But, you still have a team here, and it's, it gives everybody things to talk about, especially radio people like you guys.
Yes. Look, it's one of the reasons when the Predators looked like they were leaving, because I wasn't going to get rich by spending a whole summer helping run a political campaign. But my belief was that if we lost the Predators in 2007, that we would get stamped as some sort of an inferior sports city. And I didn't think we deserved that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I can remember way back in the day when the Blues almost got taken and moved to Saskatoon. That was back in the 70s, I think. And,
wow.
Several people stepped up and bought the team and kept them there. If that would have happened, and then on top of the football Cardinals leaving, that could really, as far as sports go, can devastate a city. So, I'm glad the Predators didn't lose or Nashville didn't lose the Predators. But I was going to mention to Kelly real quick, you guys talked a lot about that Minnesota game and the Rams. Do you think, like a week ago, do you think the Rams learned a lot from that Detroit Lions onslaught that they threw at Darnold, and did a lot of the same things last night, like throwing the kitchen sink, blitzing and going crazy? Because Detroit I think they just figured that night they had so many injuries, that defensive coordinator just thought, you know what, we're just going to go all out. And it kind of looked like what the Rams did last night on defense too.
I think.
Oh yeah, Larry. This is the NFL. We used to talk about it when we were in our meetings. I mean, it's a copycat league. When somebody starts doing something and they have success with the team that you're playing the next week, and you start watching them on film, you're going to implement some of their stuff. Now, you're not going to call it what they call it, but you're going to implement it. And Detroit's really good. And I just think another thing too is obviously they did implement some things that Detroit did, but I think that the Rams match up really well with Minnesota for some reason. They were the team that beat them first during the regular season and beat them pretty good. And then yesterday, you get into a situation where you've already played them, and then you feel confident playing them again, and then you can take their best player away, and you feel confident that your guys can stack up man to man against those guys. That's what they did all night, and there was nobody open. So it's a copycat league, yes, but I just think the Rams have gotten better on defense. Sean McVay was hitting on all cylinders, calling those plays. He's got a pivot man with Matthew Stafford who can throw the ball. He's got guys that can make play on offense, and it's just a good matchup for those guys. And they just dominated. They just dominated the Minnesota Vikings last night.
Larry, that's a great question. I think you hit on something that absolutely did happen. I got to go to a break, but I hope you'll call us again.
I sure will. I appreciate you guys. And you guys, I listen to you, like I said, almost every single day, and you guys do a great job. And Billy, hang in there. You're the technology expert. Remember that. See you guys.
Appreciate it.
What he doesn't know is technologically, Billy, you're up here.
Yeah,
and I'm in the gutter.
I don't even discuss.
Larry, you got to understand, Billy's still a dork, okay? Just is who he is, okay?
Wow.
And to the break.
Okay, we'll go to the break. It looks like I got room for a couple more calls in this next segment. I'm going to lead with Frank and Smyrna. But feel free to jump in at 615-553-0933. This is 94.9 The Fan.
As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety. If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donley Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donley have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to donleytimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Started today. Member FDIC.
Two total screw-ups of humongous proportions.
Sports. We're not living in an era where perfection is necessary.
They thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this.
Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
I've never done this exercise before. Tony, thank you. Forced me to do a little work here. Between minor league baseball, Vandy, Western Kentucky, Georgia Tech, high school stuff, Nashville Cats, and Memphis State, got to be around 800.
Wow.
Means I'm old.
Wow. Yes, it does. That's been established.
A lot of nights and a lot of press boxes. By the way,
what was the
when I did
nicest press? But we've talked about bad
Lambeau.
Lambeau.
The biggest dump was Notre Dame. You talk about disappointing.
Oh, come on.
I'm talking about before they renovated. It was a high school press box.
Yeah,
it was a dump.
I've heard that.
Frank and Smyrna, you're on 94.9 The Fan.
Guys, how we doing?
Good. Hope you are.
Oh yeah, doing well. I couldn't help but let me start with this first before I get to why I really called. I don't believe after visiting the Dallas-Fort Worth area back in August for a week and going to some Rangers games and looking over at the gigantic airline hangar next door known as Jerry's Junkyard. I don't believe for a minute there's enough room for those two egos in Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders. There is no place in the state of Texas big enough for those two clowns to coexist. I just, I don't doubt Deion's coaching ability, and he's done better at Colorado than I honestly thought he'd do. But I just, and he probably is a good coach, but George, you said it well about Billy Martin and George Steinbrenner from the 70s with the Yankees. I can remember my dad just sitting there laughing, going, this is just priceless entertainment, is what he'd say.
And it was.
It could get interesting in Dallas if they hire him. I personally don't think it'll happen. That's just my opinion, but I could be wrong. But Jerry does what he wants, and obviously that's why they haven't won a Super Bowl since '96 and will not win one as long as he's the owner there, in my opinion. But let's get to why I really called. You guys were talking about first of all, Jim Nantz. He lives in Nashville, or at one time he did. He bought Victor Arvidsson's former residence. So I was told by a friend in the real estate business there. Now I don't know if that's still the case, and I haven't crossed paths with him. I hear he's a really nice gentleman, but I haven't crossed paths. I don't know if you guys have met him or not.
I have not, but he's an incredible talent.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and now the real reason I call you guys were talking about doing a football game, George. You and Kelly.
Yeah,
and I just couldn't help but think I should not go here. I should not go here, but I'm going to go there. There is a play-by-play job open in Nashville, Tennessee, for a radio play-by-play guy. That down there on the riverfront at the local NFL team. And I couldn't think of a better guy that would be just, and I'm serious when I say this, he's just a fantastic play-by-play guy. They should hire you. And Kelly, you and Dave McKinnis could be the color commentators. And, when Levis does something stupid, you could go 1, 2, 3, throw it in the stand, son.
That's right. I'm good at that.
You cannot do that, Hoss. You got to be better than that. And, it would make a not so great football team right now, at least entertaining on radio to listen to, if nothing else. But no, George, I mean that as a sincere compliment. He would really make a good play-by-play guy.
I wouldn't hold my breath, and let's leave it at that. Good enough.
I have no inside knowledge with the Titans. I mean, I know Jim Wyatt. I could call him, but I know Jim doesn't care what I think. So, they wouldn't. Robbie Boren wouldn't care what I think either. So, we'll leave it at that.
I care what you think.
I couldn't help but think about that. I appreciate that. Not many people do.
Thank you for the call.
You're welcome, guys. Y'all have a good evening. Stay warm.
Don't hold your breath on his thought there. First time caller coming up. David in Cane Ridge. Welcome.
Hello, George, fellas. George, I have been listening for so many decades. I couldn't remember the number of stations I'll listen to. But
you were young and thin.
You guys, when they start talking about do what?
You were young and thin.
Yeah, right. I'm so mature now that when they talk about NIL, it takes me back to my high school days when I played here in Nashville, and that's what the league was called. So
Nashville Interscholastic League.
Yeah.
Yep, it sure was. A whole lot different back then. Nashville's certainly grown up a lot. I enjoy listening to Kelly, to the high school games on this. I just like local guys. And some of the younger guys that I hear nowadays, I mean, I don't listen to radio as much as I used to. But to your question about Deion, I've got a question that nobody will ask, or bring up nationally because they don't want to offend him. But how good a coach would Deion be in the pros? And I preference it kind of like this, or I ask the question, he can recruit college guys, because of his persona and everything else and the money. But in the pros, he's going to coach what he's got. And, I like the guy. I think he's great for college football. But, how good of a coach would he actually be?
That's a good point.
Kelly, isn't though the first piece of the answer that he would get everybody's, they're all going to give him a shot because of what he's accomplished.
Correct. They'll give him a shot. And like I said, man, I think he may surprise people. I really do, because guys, when you're grown up and you become a man and you get in the National Football League, you want to be told the truth. And I've been around guys that would look at you and lie to you, and I've been around guys that tell you the truth. And I promise you this, I want to know where I stand, and I think Deion does a good job about that. I think he'll look at you and he'll tell you, and it's hard. Sometimes it's hard truths, but I think that's what his gift is, and I think he may surprise people. I don't know. He's just got to have good people around him. You better have good coaches around you, because when you get into this league, everybody knows that everybody's good, but if you don't have good people around you and you allow them to do their jobs, you're not going to be successful.
David, because I'm short on time, I got to run, but thank you. Please call back.
All right. Y'all have a good day.
Final call. Clay on line 6. If there is such a thing. Clay, I got 2 minutes. Go.
Thanks for taking my call, George. Y'all talked the other day about how the Chargers laid an egg, and interesting about the way the St. Louis, Minnesota game played out last night. And I thought one thing that really stuck out to me, the Vikings were down 17-3. And I want to say they were on about their own 35, something like that, with fourth down, and the coach decides to go for it. And I thought that was really dumb. I thought he got pretty desperate there. So all of a sudden the Rams take advantage of that, and it's 24-3, and the game's pretty much over. So the Vikings kind of laid an egg just like the Chargers did.
Some analytics guys, we've got to go for it. By the way, for the record, not that it would have changed the game, but the Matthew Stafford throw, I mean, please, if you're going to say that's an incomplete pass, then flag him, because he had that's intentional grounding. Sure is Kelly Holcomb's a former NFL quarterback.
Yeah, that was bad, man. I can't call that a throwaway. That was that should have been probably a defensive touchdown, man. Or he's got to get a penalty for intentional grounding.
Clay, last thing here. Will you be at Memorial Gym tomorrow night?
No, I will not.
We will.
I'll be watching intently.
We'll be doing our show there live.
Billy, by the way, I watched the podcast yesterday with Tim Thompson. Enjoyed it. Keep them coming with Tim. He's the best.
He's really
George,
good.
you'll remember this. It's interesting how he's, with no hair now. Do you remember the fro we had back in the day? So Tim Thompson knows stuff, though.
We were in school together. I miss the fro days. Hey, thanks for the call.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, after the break, plaster bet of the day, which cannot get any worse. Stay tuned.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket. The Predators win! Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're we're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Busy night around the SEC. We've got 3 ranked matchups tonight. Auburn hosts Mississippi State. As I pull up this, Ole Miss is at Alabama. You've also got Texas A&M at Kentucky. We'll see where Georgia's going with Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. A little recap from last night.
Oh, God.
The Vikings did not win.
Must we? You know, you can remember when college football played 11 games a year, and you would have, when a coach got fired, and his final season, he went 2-9. I'm 2-9, so
Yeah,
it's
but you got a long way to go, George.
I know. We haven't even gotten to the spring game yet. So tonight, even with Janai Broome out, Auburn has been mangling people at home. Absolutely. That was the last time they didn't win in double digits. So Vegas has taken Janai Broome's injury, and one of two things either going to happen. Either I'm going to be right or Mississippi State's going to win this game, and Auburn. I don't think they are. Now, I think they're really good, and if they are middle of the road of the SEC, SEC's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Kelly, I'm taking Auburn.
Well, let's go Bulldogs. Let's go State.
It's a nice attitude.
By the way, a couple NFL notes. The Lions and Commanders is the most expensive NFL game in history, excluding the Super Bowl. The average get-in price, $9.91.
Now, part of that is because Ford Field, where the Lions play,
is small.
It's only about 63,000.
Yeah.
Have you noticed the prices on Notre Dame, Ohio State?
$1,500, $2,000.
Yeah,
that range.
Really?
I saw somebody on Twitter say this game should be in Indianapolis instead of Atlanta.
So, Kelly, you remember when LSU and Bama played in the national title?
Yeah, and it was like a 9-6 game. Is that what it was? Something like
the
that?
9-6 was in the regular season.
Oh,
this
it was. Okay.
21-0.
Yes, and so a buddy of mine that went with me, as we're walking up the ramp to the Superdome,
yeah,
I turned to him and said, "This is going to be one of the great nights in the history of Southern college football." LSU Bama national title. Middle of the fourth quarter, we were at Harrah's. I'm just
never
telling
know,
you,
man. Just never know.
You never know. What else you got,
Another
Billy?
note, the Bills are a home underdog in the playoffs for the first time ever on Sunday.
Wow.
They had been favored.
Ever?
Yes, they had been favored in their previous 18 home playoff games.
Dang.
Some motivation for the Bills there.
Tomorrow, our show will go from 3 to 4:30, and we will broadcast live from Memorial Gym. 5 o'clock game between Vandy and South Carolina. We'll open the phone lines right at 4. We'll do our normal stuff from 3 to 4, and then rely on you all to take us home.
Absolutely. I like it.
For Kelly Holcomb and for young William Derrick, I'm George Plaster. Who cares? This is 94.9 The Fan.
Yeah.